It's a Rolex GMT Master 2, reference number 116769TBR. This watch was introduced in 2007. To be fair, it suits Cristiano Ronaldo's attire completely. The watch features nearly 30 carats of diamonds. The watch is made out of solid 18 carat white gold.
Cristiano Ronaldo just sued Rolex. And no, this isn't about a knockoff from some sketchy street dealer. This is about the real thing, real Rolex watches, allegedly crafted in Switzerland, sold for over $500,000 each, and secretly built in China. Let that sink in, because what started as a routine red carpet flex has now exploded into a full-scale legal war. And the man at the center of it all? One of the most powerful athletes on the planet. A global icon. A perfectionist who doesn't just wear luxury, he defines it. But when Ronaldo found out that Rolex might have sold him a fantasy wrapped in diamonds, he didn't just get mad. He declared war. And now, the most respected luxury brand in the world is scrambling to defend itself against the most damaging exposure in its 100-year history. Headlines are burning. Lawsuits are piling up. Celebrities are panicking. And the myth of Swiss made might be shattered forever. Because when Cristiano Ronaldo gets deceived, he doesn't take it quietly. He exposes the entire industry. It was supposed to be just another Ronaldo moment. Cameras flashing, fans screaming, headlines obsessing. He had just landed in Dubai for a high-profile celebrity gala. Tailored suit, signature smirk, and on his wrist, a jaw-dropping Rolex GMT Master 2, reference number 116769 TBR, diamond-encrusted, solid 18-karat white gold. Price tag? $500,000. The internet couldn't stop talking about it. Cristiano's $500,000 Rolex steals the show. One headline read. TikToks were popping off. Watch collectors drooled. Style influencers reposted the moment with captions like, King Energy. Even seasoned collectors called it one of the flashiest pieces ever worn in public. But within days, the entire vibe shifted. A quiet leak. Just a few blurry documents. But they were damning. Anonymous sources sent out internal shipping manifests, allegedly connected to Ronaldo's very own watch. And instead of showing a Swiss origin, the documents listed Guangdong Province, China. Not Geneva. Not Switzerland. China. At first, Ronaldo's team thought it was a joke. Some online troll trying to stir up drama. But then the files were cross-referenced, verified, and they matched. Serial numbers, dates, order trails, everything lined up. And that one detail, the place where his watch was really made, set off a chain reaction that would expose far more than anyone expected. For over a century, Swiss made has been the gold standard. It's not just a label, it's a promise. A symbol of precision, craftsmanship, and timeless luxury. People don't just buy a Rolex to tell time, they buy the myth, the heritage, the idea that what's on their wrist was carefully assembled by master watchmakers in the snowy valleys of Switzerland. But here's the part they don't advertise. According to European regulations, a watch only needs 60% of its production costs to originate in Switzerland in order to legally wear that Swiss-made badge. That's it. The rest can be outsourced, manufactured, assembled, finished, wherever, even in the back alleys of Shenzhen or the industrial zones of Vietnam. And that's exactly what Ronaldo's team uncovered. The documents tied to his watch showed that critical components, cases, dials, movement parts, were allegedly sourced and assembled in Chinese factories. From there, they were shipped to Switzerland, where a few finishing touches were added just to pass compliance. Suddenly, that $500,000 watch didn't feel so Swiss anymore. And Ronaldo, he wasn't just annoyed, he felt betrayed. Because for someone who's built his brand on excellence, finding out that his prized luxury pieces were cobbled together through legal loopholes wasn't just insulting. It was war. Cristiano Ronaldo doesn't just wear luxury. He embodies it. So when his legal team confirmed that multiple watches in his collection, each supposedly handcrafted in Switzerland, were actually produced, at least in part, in China, that wasn't just a quality control issue. It was personal. Insiders say Ronaldo was livid. Not because of the money, he can buy 100 more. It was the principle, the deception, The idea that a brand as iconic as Rolex could sell a global illusion and expect no one to notice. But Ronaldo noticed, and within 48 hours, his lawyers made their move. A multi-million-dollar lawsuit was filed with the European Commission and cross-filed in Swiss courts. The charges: consumer deception, false advertising, emotional distress, and violations of international transparency laws. But the most damning blow came from what was inside the filing. Leaked internal memos, allegedly from within Rolex, painted a chilling picture. One message, reportedly sent by a senior executive, read, "Finalize the Guangzhou production run. Compliance can be handled during Swiss final stage inspection." That sentence alone hit like a grenade. Because if it's real, it proves this wasn't an accident. It wasn't a one-off. It was intentional deception, baked into the very foundation of the brand. Rolex knew. They planned it. And they gambled that no one would ever dig deep enough to find out. They were wrong. When the story hit the press, it didn't just spark a backlash. It triggered a global firestorm. Ronaldo didn't mince words. In a private statement that quickly leaked to the media, he said, "I don't represent fake. Not on the pitch. Not on my wrist. If Rolex lied to me, they lied to the world." Boom. That single quote was all it took. Twitter blew up. Instagram went off. Hashtags like hashtag Made in China Rolex, hashtag Luxury Lies, and hashtag Ronaldo sues Rolex started trending worldwide. Watch forums turned savage overnight. People who once flexed their Rolexes now questioned if they'd been duped too. And Rolex? They responded the only way a century-old institution knows how, with a cold corporate statement. "We comply with all international standards for Swiss-made labeling. We maintain the highest levels of craftsmanship and integrity." Translation: we're not denying it, but we're not admitting it either. But the internet wasn't buying it. Not this time. A respected independent watchmaker from Geneva went public, confirming what many suspected. Many luxury brands outsource parts. Rolex isn't alone. They're just the biggest to get caught. That was the final straw. Customers felt cheated. Trust evaporated. And the Rolex crown? Suddenly, it didn't look so polished anymore. Started with one man. But Ronaldo's outrage quickly became a movement. Within days, the luxury world began to crumble from the inside. Celebrities who once flaunted Rolex on every red carpet began pulling back. NBA stars, rappers, actors, even influencers who built their personal brand on luxury, quietly deleted posts. Watch endorsements. They dried up almost overnight. Behind the scenes, damage control went into overdrive. Publicists scrambled. Stylists started requesting independent verification for high-end accessories before events. The fear wasn't just embarrassment anymore. It was reputation collapse. And then came the real bombshell. Ronaldo wasn't alone. Several unnamed athletes reportedly reached out to his legal team, considering joining the fight. Rumors began swirling about a massive class action lawsuit forming. One that wouldn't just target Rolex, but potentially take down the entire Swiss luxury watch industry. Meanwhile, whistleblowers from other elite brands stepped forward. Names like Audemars Piguet, Hublot, and even select Patek Philippe models were suddenly under fire for the same shady tactics: outsourced labor, foreign-made components, and assembly lines hidden from the public eye. An anonymous insider summed it up with chilling clarity. Ronaldo cracked the code. Most of these watches aren't lies. They're just half-truths sold for full price. And just like that, the illusion shattered. Forums exploded with one question: is your Rolex really Swiss? Most celebrities would have walked away after the lawsuit. Not Cristiano. He didn't just want revenge, he wanted a reckoning. So when the media swarmed Geneva for what was supposed to be a basic press conference, nobody expected what came next. Ronaldo stepped up to the podium. Not in a designer suit, not with a glitzy smile, but in all black. No watch, just the infamous Rolex in one hand. He raised it for the cameras and spoke clearly. "This isn't about luxury. This is about honesty." There was no yelling, no theatrics, just the cold, steady voice of a man who had nothing to prove, except the truth. And then he dropped the bombshell. A global initiative, the Truth Standard, an independent, third-party certification designed to audit and verify every step of a watch's creation, from raw materials to final assembly. No more loopholes, no more technicalities, no more hiding behind the phrase, Swiss made. The goal? To give power back to the buyer. If a watch is truly made in Switzerland, it'll prove it. If it's built in China and disguised as elite, well, that'll be revealed too. And here's the crazy part. The public loved it. Consumers were finally done playing the luxury guessing game. They wanted receipts. And Ronaldo had just built the platform that would demand them. Cristiano Ronaldo didn't just file a lawsuit. He cracked open an entire industry and let the truth pour out. Rolex, once untouchable, was now stained with doubt. The phrase Swiss made no longer guaranteed prestige, it raised questions. What was once a symbol of elite status now carried an asterisk. And the man responsible for all of it? A football legend who refused to stay silent. But this wasn't just about a watch. It was about trust. About the difference between branding and reality. About holding billion-dollar companies accountable when they think no one's watching. Because in the age of social media, people are always watching. Ronaldo's stand sent shockwaves far beyond the watch world. He became the face of a new kind of luxury, one rooted not in blind loyalty or polished logos, but in truth, transparency, and standards. And now, other brands are scrambling to catch up. Smaller companies with honest practices are thriving. Consumers are reading labels twice. The entire luxury market has been forced to look in the mirror and ask one terrifying question. What happens when image isn't enough? Cristiano Ronaldo redefined what it means to be elite. Not just the richest, not just the most followed, but the one bold enough to call out the system and demand something better. So if you're still flexing a Swiss-made label, ask yourself this. Do you know where it really came from? Because Ronaldo does. And in a world full of fakes, he just reminded everyone what real looks like.